including you, Jay-Z.
Yes. Yes.
You who say you rose from the gutter, but you have traded and bartered the souls of young men.
If you've been keeping up with the entertainment industry, you've likely come across Ice Cube's ongoing efforts to unveil the flaws within the industry. However, it appears that merely addressing these issues online is no longer sufficient for the rapper. Ice Cube has elevated his mission to new levels, engaging in extensive interviews to shed light on the influential figures orchestrating the industry's dynamics. Notably, Jay-Z's name has surfaced in these discussions, suggesting a deeper exploration into the inner workings of the music business. This would ordinarily not raise any flags, as people call out the biggest industry players all the time, but with this one, Ice laid a trail for anyone interested in his truth and what he talked about. Don't even get me started on these big names who have made a niche of making money off of sending rappers to jail. Given Ice Cube's extensive tenure in the industry, he has witnessed numerous peculiar occurrences in the lives of fellow rappers. These experiences have led him to identify patterns and draw striking parallels, compelling him to take a determined stance in exposing influential figures. I've never seen anyone step up against the Carters with facts, but times are different now, so if you don't want to miss Ice Cube's revelation about the unnamed veteran rapper, stick around.
Meaning record company guys sit around and tell the artists, this is hot, say that, do this. We're gonna have this guy write the lyrics.
Ice Cube's credibility in addressing industry issues stems from his wealth of experience, a factor that often lends weight to the perspectives of older individuals. The rapper, also known for his acting roles, has been outspoken about the manipulative nature of the music industry. He contends that labels and their executives are the puppeteers, really the ones pulling the strings on rappers getting sentenced. In a revealing discussion with Bill Maher on the Comedian's podcast, Ice Cube delved deeper into the influence certain music executives wield over society. The episode, Club Random, started with a focus on Ice Cube's life and career, but took an unexpected turn as he explored the alleged scandalous ties between the prison industry and the music business. According to the seemingly enlightened actor, the game played by these top players in the industry is simply meant to keep the general public distracted and by extension divided.
It's just done to really keep us bickering and, chasing these words.
It's weird how the names always change every 20 or 30 years. Somebody wants to put a new label on the same thing, Ice Cube said. He suggested that petty debates like this are forced on society to divide people and prevent them from questioning the problems they all should unite to address. It's just done to keep us bickering and chasing these words, so they're not getting to the root of the issues, which are mostly very common if we go down to the root, Ice Cube said. From this point, it was already pretty clear that the Friday actor was on to something, as he then went on to draw up the alleged connections he believes to exist in the industry. It started after Maher asked Ice to identify some people dividing society by design. But instead of spelling out what he was talking about for the podcast host, Ice Cube did him and the rest of the world one better by asking one question. Who benefits and profits from our bickering and division? Ice Cube asked rhetorically.
Who benefits and profits off our bickering and our division? It's like follow the money.
Follow the money. I don't know their names, Bill, but if you follow the money, you go high enough, you start to see, he added. He then used the record industry as a broad example of how people at the top can manipulate what's going on with the people who are bickering and fighting.
I don't know their names, Bill, but if you follow the money, you go high enough, you start to see.
Ice Cube alleged that the same people who own the record labels own the prisons, noting, it seems kind of suspicious, if you want to say that word, that the records that come out are geared to push people towards that prison industry.
Okay, let's take rap music.
Entertainment.
Same people who own the labels own the prisons.
But just like many people, Maher had doubts about Cube's revelation, stating that rappers hadn't been forced to write those lyrics that promoted and landed rappers in jail. Well, this was the point where Ice Cube decided to bring out the big guns. It's not about making somebody write the lyrics, it's about being there as guardrails to make sure certain songs make it through and certain songs don't, Ice Cube said. He later claimed, some records are made by committee, where a record company micromanages the lyrics and ideas used in an album, to the point a record company is pushing a narrative. Ice Cube suggested this is an illustrative example of social engineering, ensuring prisons stay full. ICE meant that the same people who run the record companies seem to have stock or financial interests in the private prison industry. Thus, their interest in doing everything they can to control how much people get jail terms. Remember when I asked you to guess whose name could fit into a record label conversation and might also happen to be invested in the prison system? Well, it's none other than the head of the Carter household, Jay-Z himself.
It seems really kind of suspicious, if you want to say that word.
Jay-Z, being 1% of the top 1% of the music industry, runs his record labels, which have a trail of artists ending up in jail. Seems like a pretty huge coincidence, doesn't it? While most of the rappers signed to Jay-Z's record label over the years have had their share of controversies involving the law, there has been a pattern of Hav refusing to lend a helping hand, even though he has the required connections. One of the most prominent examples of this case is rapper Casanova's run-in with the law. Casanova, who was signed to Roc Nation in 2016, was charged with attempted murder in November 2021 and has been behind bars since. However, he says Jay-Z has not lent a helping hand even after he'd spent months back and forth on the case.
You get treated like a beast, like a dog.
In fact, after a month behind bars, the rapper had a statement revealing that he was in a tight spot. According to a statement released via Instagram on his behalf, which read, "I've been incarcerated for almost 1 year now, exhausted all remedies, and spent a significant amount of money on legal fees to prove my innocence. The charges against me are false. They don't represent or reflect the person I am." The NI rapper added in his statement, "I'm calling on all the great people with meaningful and powerful voices to help me with this matter. If there's anything you can do to help, whether if it's contacting my legal attorney to see that I played no role in this case or having a private investigator look into the actual role and not the alleged accusations against me." Considering that Jay-Z has eaten at the table of the American president at different points, don't you think it's a little odd that his artist has to release a public statement asking for legal help? And if that's not convincing enough, there's also the fact that Tory Lanez, who was recently caught up in a legal free-for-all with Megan Thee Stallion, had his share of Jay-Z's power. According to Lanez, he got a call from Jay's record label, or should I say threat? Hear for yourself. For context, Megan is an artist under Jay-Z's Roc Nation, making big banks for them. So the label allegedly calling up Tory to keep his mouth shut is pretty much another form of proof that Jay has his hands deeply invested in controlling the narrative about artists. But it wasn't just Tory who spoke about Jay-Z's alleged manipulation. Even the Canadian rapper's father name-dropped Hav. And considering that Lanez lost that case, even though there seem to be a lot of discrepancies, including conflicting stories, it further solidifies these claims against Jay. But it didn't end with just Tory and Casanova. Oh no, there's one other name, the legendary R. Kelly. The singer, who is currently in jail for a litany of other sex-related charges, seems to be more worried about other things than the crimes he's committed. Ronnie Bo, Kelly's former cellmate, said in a recent interview that the R&B singer thinks that Jay-Z wanted him dead. Jay-Z and Kelly worked on 2 albums together in the early 2000s and went on tour together. Apparently, things did not end well on the tour between the 2 artists. He felt like Jay-Z was kind of insecure because, at that time, R. Kelly was technically bigger than him. Bo said he felt like during one of the shows when they were in Madison Square Garden in 2004, before that event, he said days before the event that he was getting death threats that he felt were coming from Jay-Z. "I don't know if this is going to sound outrageous," Bo said. He felt like Jay-Z was trying to get him killed for whatever reason. He couldn't have said it better, right? But it still doesn't end there. Besides these, Jay created an app to monitor former convicts when they get released. While the rapper claims this is just him lending a hand to make society a better place, history and Ice Cube seem to have painted a completely different picture. Many people might be starting to figure out who Jay-Z is, and they haven't been quiet about it. One user wrote, "Jay-Z is a black capitalist who is invested in the prison industrial complex. His CEO of Roc Nation was a DEA informant. He goes against everything the Black Panther Party stood for." Is this where people finally put their foot down against this puppeteer? We just may find out soon enough. Thank you for watching this video. Goodbye.